Welcome back to Championship Court. It is time for our second semifinal matchup of the morning between the California BLQK Bears taking on the New Jersey 5's, who had the #1 overall pick in the draft. They took, of course, Leigh Waters, as she looks to help her team punch their ticket to the championship round. And if you're new here or new this weekend, let's check out a recap of the action we have seen so far from MLP by Margaritaville here in Daytona Beach. It has been incredible, and the quarterfinal rounds started yesterday. We had a couple of heated matchups there. The New York Hustlers, one of those teams that were expected to maybe make it to the semifinal round. They didn't, and so the New Jersey 5's seeking some revenge from MLP Mesa. They were knocked out of the quarterfinal round in Mesa. They punched their ticket to the semifinals this tournament. As we mentioned, we will take a look at a recap over the weekend of the action that has brought us here this far. Major League Pickleball leveling up the game as we listen in now on the coin toss between the 5's and the Bears.
Ladies, I want to say something interesting. I talked to Andrea Koop a minute or two ago, and she was wondering if they won the toss, if she should take end or the home team. We've seen almost every team choose the home team so they can react to mixed doubles, but we have had some issues on the near end of the court with players being able to see the ball a little less well from the near end of the court. So the fact that she was even considering winning the toss and not taking the home team is a really big factor. She's played on this court earlier, so she knows the sight line, so that is something we need to monitor throughout the match.
And by the near end of the court, you're referencing the side that is the bench of the Black Bears?
Correct.
I'm assuming.
Exactly right. So the side of Maggie, Brascia, and Leigh Jansen at this current moment
is the better side or the tougher side?
No, it is the tougher side. It is the tougher side. So you are wondering possibly of ending on the far end of the court, so you do not have those vision issues to end the match.
Well, has anyone chosen a way to this point?
I don't.
In Major League Pickleball history?
Oh, Tim Klitsch did it. Okay.
He chose away because he wanted to select the matchups for the Dreambreaker.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Okay.
For the Texas Ranchers. So there has been, and his son back home was advised advising him to do that. He said, pick away. You want to pick your Dream Breaker matchup.
Oh, well, there you go.
And that's how they won.
Yes. Well,
they won that way because they were able to pick the Dream Breaker. They had enough faith in their mixed doubles partnerships to say, we'll throw them out there, but we want to pick for the Dream Breaker. So it doesn't happen often, and when it does, at least in that case, it was successful, and that was by committee,
right.
Not something he said he would have. He said he thought his son was crazy advising him to make that choice because it's not usual.
So I want to say something about Leigh Jansen here. I have had the privilege in my career of playing with some top players, Ben Johns, Riley Newman, a lot of tournaments with Deckel Bar, and I tell you what, it's very easy. They do a lot of the heavy lifting for you, but it's also a lot of pressure. Leigh Jansen, I don't think, has played her best pickleball in this tournament, and even if Anna Leigh doesn't play her best game, it often comes down to it being your fault because her partner is so good. So there is a pressure factor. Easy to play with Anna Leigh, but also not easy to play with Anna Leigh. Let's see how she responds to that pressure in this match.
The 5's, of course, owned by the legendary figure Gary Vaynerchuk and Ryan Harwood, who is co-owner and GM, who you'll see on the sideline. Had a chance to speak with him leading into the matchup, and certainly a part of their draft process was selecting the young talent available to them in the pool. It's a theme of youth on their side. Over on the Bears side, owner Ritchie Tuazon, very involved owner. He's sitting on the bench for his team with his young daughter Tess. Very supportive ownership group, and we are getting set now for women's doubles. It is Leigh Jansen and Anna Leigh Waters on the 5's against Maggie Brascia and Andrea Koop in the all-white, playing for the California BLQK Bears. Andrea Koop right out of the gate. What defense from Anna Leigh Waters, running down a couple of those overheads.
Well, and I know you mentioned the pressure that Leigh Jansen might feel playing alongside Anna Leigh Waters. They had an outstanding match, though, a comeback win last night against Elise Jones and Simone Jardim, so they should be feeling a little bit more confident in their partnership today.
Leigh Jansen getting in some trouble early, but the pressure of the Bears too good in that one.
Yes, and I expect that to be a common matchup. Andrea Koop attacks cross-court as much as anyone. Will Leigh Jansen be able to handle those cross-court attacks?
Oh, Maggie Brascia finds the backside of Anna Leigh Waters, who is pinching over to the left. We had a discussion with her mom, Leigh Waters, on that. Cameron, what do you see strategy-wise there?
Well, and I think that's one of the big questions, and Leigh mentioned it herself in terms of Maggie Brascia. She's a little bit more of the unknown on the court right now in terms of how she approaches the game, where the speed-ups are going to come from.
Andrea Koop once again finds the corner on Waters.
And that's one of the big reasons. Again, Maggie Brascia was not able to compete back at MLP Mesa. She's been an addition, and a nice addition here in Daytona Beach, really propelling this team. Great hands and defense, but also plenty of pop off her paddle.
Took every ounce of effort for the 5's to finish that point. Anna Leigh Waters coming away, but they had to earn it.
That's exactly right. And you can't just hit through anyone. They had incredible offense early on, neutralized by the Black Bears. You have to spread them out and then find your spot. Nice job, Anna Leigh Waters.
Maggie Brascia finds the wide open court, and this is where the 5's did get into some trouble last night in the quarterfinal round on the forehand side of Anna Leigh Waters, who's basically inviting whoever plays her to test that forehand side. She likes it, but has gotten beat there a couple of times.
Well, and I think one of the big elements for this matchup is, as much as we talk about defense, I also think there's going to be an element that the Black Bears have to find some offense. They mentioned that Andrea Koop, a little bit more known to be defensive, as is Maggie Brascia. They're going to need to look for some spots where they can be the aggressor. That's a great look right there from Andrea Koop out of the middle. Take a look at this. She sets up a nice dink at the kitchen, then the counter, and it's going her direction. But again, how often can you counter and just continue to win points?
Annalie Waters answering right back.
Just amazing power from Annalie Waters right at the shoulder level. Hits such a clean ball, always in the sweet spot, and just getting on her opponent so quickly.
Annalie Waters so big on the forehand, just as much so on the backhand.
Yeah, so good again from Annalie Waters. And I'm going to give a shout out to Dominic Catalano, a member of the broadcast crew who played with Annalie Waters, and I was able to defeat them. I'm about 0-10 against Annalie since. So what I'm trying to say is that was Dom's fault. So Dom, if you're listening, sorry I had to roast you, buddy, but Annalie Waters, the progression in her game has just been absolutely ridiculous, and I've been here for the entire growth. Just such a quality player.
Oh, Annalie Waters so good and powerful on the counterattack when she speeds things up.
Well, and again, this is why I mentioned being the aggressor, the attacker, because the New Jersey 5s are surely going to do that. It's just a matter of Koop and Brascia hanging on. Maybe they can start to counter some more of those.
Andrea Koop, one of the best in the game. That ball is wide. She won a national championship, Koop did, with UCLA back in 2008 with the Bruins.
Yes, that third floating up a little too much. Andrea Koop not able to get established at the kitchen line, and Annalie Waters with a nice mid-paced attack to keep the pressure on. The old spread them out and then find a hole. I told you, you cannot hit through these ladies. You have to set up your points. You have to construct. It could be 2, 3, 4 shots, setting up one shot that you want. And Maggie Brascia, phenomenal job pulling Annalie Waters out wide and then finding the middle.
Just wide for Waters, and the Black Bears with a comfortable 4-point lead.
Yeah, and I love the movement right there from Andrea Koop. Really aggressive with her footwork pattern, getting to that forehand through the middle.
Oh, the leaping backhand of Annalie Waters, so impressive.
Yes, and we have two of the best players in the world at a right side, strong side. Normally the left player is dominant, but Annalie Waters and here in a few moments Dylan Frazier, two of the best in the game at being aggressive and squeezing the middle from the right side of the court.
Which does leave a potential vulnerability, opening up that alleyway down the line for Andrea Koop, rather. We'll see. They continue to try to exploit that. Andrea Koop was lined up and ready that time to target Leigh Jansen.
Nice job by Andrea Koop on this ball. Watch her movement right here, recognizing the two-hand speed up off the bounce. It's well disguised from Annalie Waters, but Koop that much more prepared, expecting it, and actually sliding to the middle. Oftentimes players will slide to their forehand from that left side to be able to counter, but Koop with a great slide the opposite direction.
And I would say, as we see the Andrea Koop player profile on the screen, and I would say that Leigh Jansen was a little too far off the kitchen line. As when Andrea Koop is attacking cross court, Leigh has a little bit extra time, so I would like to see her hold that line a little bit more when Andrea Koop decides to counterattack cross court.
Black Bears, the first team to 11, so we will have a change of ends. And the Bears, no doubt, had an advantage in scouting the 5s last night in their quarterfinal matchup. Leigh Jansen, a part of that. Her 6th rank in terms of duper. She's 30 years old and the eldest on the team for the 5s, which is certainly not old by any means.
Yeah, and talking about Leigh, like you just mentioned, her kind of coming off the kitchen line, one of those roles is Leigh has to, drop back to create space for Annalie Waters. That's been a huge part of the conversation. But the ability to get back to the line, the timing, the spacing, it's all a dance with Annalie Waters right now. And when it's still one of those newer partnerships, that's where that dance becomes a little bit more nuanced.
Koop goes into that time, the 5s.
Yes, and a nice job by Leigh Jansen there. Much more well-struck counterattack, more pace, more pop, handcuffing Koop.
Andrea Koop going right at Annalie Waters.
And fortunate with some let tape, but nice to see her switch up. She's not going to only target Leigh on the cross court with attacks. She has to sprinkle in a few at Annalie Waters.
Bears with another point. Maggie Brascia, by the way, still a full-time college student, balancing her schoolwork at Concordia University, Irvine, excuse me. Thinking of Jesse Irvine.
Exactly.
And the Black Bears so far holding court. However, rally scoring is a dangerous entity. We saw the St. Louis Shock, who seemed to be running away with the women's doubles matchup, and they lost. Koop doing a wonderful job keeping Leigh Jansen at the baseline.
Michelle, that is rule 23C of pro pickleball. You do not lob twice in the same point. Annalie Waters with a great cross-court lob. Initially, she's kind of been working that into her game, but then the second lob over Koop, a little suspect.
So the game I was referencing earlier, a timeout called on the floor and the court for the 5s. Simone Jargim and Elise Jones were the first team out against the 5s in last night's quarterfinal round. It seemed like Jargim and Jones had figured out the game plan against Annalie Waters and Leigh Jansen. Then they dropped that game, and it was downhill from there. So this women's doubles game is so crucial. My point here is, though Brascia and Koop have had the lead most of this game, do not count AL and Leigh Jansen out of this one. So in order for the Bears to continue with this run and this momentum, what's working on their side?
Well, I think importantly too, you need to take a look, as you mentioned, the matchup last night for Leigh Jansen and Annalie Waters. Some of the difficulty for them came at the hand of Annalie Waters. Leigh said it herself. Annalie was playing at Mach 10. Those are her exact words. She had to get calmed down. She was so amped up, and I don't think that's actually necessarily the case right now. So there's going to be a different solution on the side for the 5s. I'm curious to see exactly where that might come about. They aren't utilizing the right side of Annalie Waters too often right now. So again, completely different game. However, I'm very impressed with Maggie and Andrea Koop and the pressure they're applying, some of the counter attacks and the two-hand backhand of Koop.
Oh Maggie Brascia answering the door that time.
Yes, so good finding the middle of the court from Maggie Brascia. And often when we are hopping off the kitchen life to give ourselves more time, Andrea Koop, she was moving backwards in an incredible block early in that point.
Leigh Waters wasn't going to lose that point.
Well, and I will say, too, one of the things that they can and just looked to in the previous rally in terms of the New Jersey 5s is last night, Leigh Jansen had about 4 shots speed up the line at Elise Jones. That's what turned the page, according to Leigh. She just tried to take a shot at Maggie Brascia, who answered the call, though.
Yeah, this time, though, Maggie Brascia late getting to the kitchen line and a phenomenal inside-out backhand drive from Leigh, catching her in transition. Always an issue when that first volley is coming from the transition zone and not the kitchen line.
Oh, the net cord just going in favor of Leigh Jansen. Andrea Koop, nothing you can do about that.
I don't think the crowd ever cheers louder than they do for a net cord.
Ryan Harwood says they have lots of V friends in the house. Nobody's surprised. Firefight, and the golden rule broken on the side of Andrea Koop, lobbing maybe 3 times at that point, but the 5s so good that time.
Yes, very true, Michelle. A little different when you're in the back of the court. They didn't have a whole lot of options, but definitely the lob is usually the last of those options when you're scrambling. But hey, you got to throw it up sometimes when the situation's dire.
They almost came away with it. I was hoping they'd break the rule and then prove you wrong, but they didn't. I'm just kidding. Finding the middle was Maggie Brascia, who has been rock solid on her side of the court.
I'm really impressed with all 4 of these ladies right now, just in terms of some of these hands battles. We always use the word outstretched, right? And I think that's something that's critical in the game of pickleball, because the ability to not only volley on your body, but also from an outstretched position. These 4 doing a really nice job on some of those contacts.
Just long for Andrea Koop, and here come the 5s.
You knew they were going to come. There's just no doubt about it. Too much talent to just let this one be a blowout, and they have creeped within 2.
Ooh, Koop was working Leigh Waters side to side. A miss there for Jansen. And so the Bears stay on top by 3.
Yeah, tough spot for Jansen, all the way in the back of the court, and also Leigh making a stab with her to come to the middle of the court with the 2-handed backhand could have possibly thrown off Jansen's rhythm.
Jansen answers right back.
And I would say 3 or 4 kind of half earnies from Leigh Jansen. We saw a couple early in the match, so showing off her athleticism for sure. And when you have that 2-handed backhand of Leigh in the middle, it gives you more of that free reign to be athletic at the earnie position.
Jansen played college tennis at Washington State University. Leigh Waters bringing that big forehand, playing singles.
Here's a good look, though, at the dipping ball. That's actually the setup from Leigh Jansen. So as much as the Leigh Waters ball is impressive, great shot and stroke from Leigh Jansen.
Leigh Waters slaps the ball between Maggie Brascia's legs, and now the momentum has completely turned in favor of the 5s. They do this nearly every time.
Well, and the amount of anticipation, which equates to preparation from Leigh Jansen there on the counter, really opening up that forehand. That was a difference maker in that hands battle.
Ball was called out of bounds, and Koop is looking to challenge. Why wouldn't you? You're at the end of the game. You have 2 free ones.
And Federico Staksrud held his hand up pretty quickly, and I'm not sure if that was because, exactly like you said, Michelle, end of the game, or he for sure saw it in.
And you have 10 seconds to challenge. The captain has to do it within 10 seconds to the referee. You can no longer defer to the referee to ask him for confirmation, he or she, whether they saw it in or out. And let's have another look at this ball. That is
wide.
Yeah,
just
that's looking
slightly
out.
wide.
Yeah, I believe
That's
it.
as close as it gets, though.
Certainly.
And from the backside of the ball where Federico Staksrud was standing, that it always looks more in from the back vantage point than it does directly on the sideline.
Sure, and you have the MLP banner and also the post. So where the vantage point of Federico Staksrud was a little blocked. So a tough call for him, even though he was in a good position to see it.
Worth a free challenge, I would think, as you're this late in the game. Koop and Brascia had a healthy 3 to 4 point lead for most of this game. And then here comes Leigh, Jansen, and Leigh Waters. They just don't go away. They're persistent in their pursuit. What's changed on their side, Cameron?
Well, you said it yourself. Just so aggressive in terms of their pursuit. I think some of the preparedness and that dance has been really critical for Leigh Jansen, as that call is definitely confirmed out of bounds. So I think some of that in terms of expecting the cross-court counter and speed up from Andrea Koop for Leigh Jansen has been some of those points turning their direction.
Yeah, and sometimes there's just natural ebbs and flows. You get up a couple points, the other team comes back, and sure, the first half of the match, the Black Bears definitely on their toes and slightly more on their heels these last few, and that's a testament to the quality of play from the 5s, forcing them off of the toes and onto the heels.
Just catches the sideline that time to tie it up.
Well, speaking of ebbs and flows, I also think that's another good reason to use that challenge, right? This game is so rhythmic. It has so much that is one point to the next point and starting to stack those. So I think it's a nice opportunity for the Black Bears to change the momentum.
Oh. Oh, point of the game so far. Andrea Koop and her defense on display that entire point.
I just threw my pencil. Unbelievable point from the ladies. I thought it was over 4 or 5 times. So good. And Andrea Koop with the finishing blow. MLP, there's nothing else like it. Listen to these fans.
Somebody get this man a new pencil. Andrea Koop back to serve to Leigh Jansen, 2 points away from game number 1. Oh my goodness, everybody take a breath. These points are incredible. And the Black Bears knocking on the door for a game 1 win.
Well, and it was almost identical to what we saw in the previous rally. The outstanding defense from the baseline from Koop and Brascia. They just continued the trek. I also, as much as we mentioned the defense of Koop, I mean, Maggie Brascia is seeing the ball just as often on that right side. The little half volley she's picking up just off the ground. Incredible touch from that woman right there, Maggie Brascia.
Yes, listen, if I would say anything, obviously this is picking nits, but if there's anything about Anna-Leigh Waters, it's that traditional full-on overhead that doesn't quite have as much power as some of the ex-high-level tennis players. Now, from the shoulder or head position off to the side, incredible power from Anna-Leigh Waters, and also a couple questionable drop shots mixed in from Anna-Leigh Waters as well.
There was one in each of those last two. The first went to Maggie Brascia, and the second went to Andrea Koop, inviting them back in.
It is close quarters here on championship court as Maggie Brascia, perhaps the unsuspecting hero on her side, to Anna-Leigh Waters. Oh, Koop goes toe-to-toe, and Anna-Leigh Waters shows up when her team needs it the most.
Exactly right. Nice combination from Anna-Leigh Waters. I was waiting to see who was going to pull the trigger, and not surprising at all, it was Anna-Leigh Waters doing so.
When Anna-Leigh Waters speeds it up like that, should Koop then go to Jansen?
Try to.
If you can.
Difficult, very difficult with the quality of speed ups from Anna-Leigh.
Though.
Unreal. Andrea Koop, again, the difference in this one, when Andrea Koop slides and finds her backhand, she's much more able to bring that ball cross court. That's why you see the cross court counter right here by Andrea Koop. Earlier, she tried to slide forehand, and that ball got back to Anna-Leigh Waters.
Oh my goodness, Maggie Brascia is barely missing.
Yes.
And so, another chance for the 5's to earn some points here on their serve. Jansen speeds it up on Koop and gets the point.
Yeah, it's been a while since Maggie Brascia decided to attack straight ahead, and Leigh Jansen, she's been rolling those dinks cross court to Anna-Leigh, and she went for the offense there, and Leigh Jansen up to the task.
Just long. Oh no, it was in. So sorry. We have a tie game on championship court. Adam and Cameron, it's like deja vu from what we saw last night with the St. Louis Shock, who were nearly in the same exact situation as Koop and Brascia.
20.
Andrea Koop answering right back.
Yeah, and again, there's that slide. This time it's the forehand, but she finds the right shoulder of Anna-Leigh Waters right here, right on the body. I will say, too, impressed with the play of Andrea Koop, being able to cut some of these balls out of the air so she can hold her court position on that left side.
Andrea Koop will take the bounce off the net. The ball is good, and so the Bears now on top by 1 with a chance to win game 1. Koop, a litigation lawyer during the day and pro pickleballer here. Oh. Oh, Annalie Waters willing her way to win that point. You're jumping out of your flip-flops, Adam.
Well, unbelievable display there. In the early and mid parts of that point, they were trying so hard from the back of the court to get it to Leigh Jansen, and the court coverage of Annalie Waters to control the kitchen line was so good. We see her shot making, we see her power on these balls, but her movement around the court is absolutely world class.
20-21.
Chance to tie it here, and they do. Annalie Waters cannot be beaten.
World class is absolutely right. She's creating these opportunities all on her own.
21-21.
Leigh Jansen wants a piece of the action. And now the 5's on top.
Yes, Michelle, and just another advantage of that movement from Annalie and the presence in the middle. Full load on the forehand for Leigh Jansen makes her so much more comfortable being able to disregard the backhand side.
The 5's could close it here. Oh, Andrea Koop with everything on the line, splits the difference down the middle.
Unreal play right here from Andrea Koop and Annalie Waters. They're just going head-to-head, covering both of them about 60% of the court. If you're Annalie, it's almost 70% at this point.
Koop speeds it up to the forehand of Annalie Waters and is prepared for an even faster ball to come back to her backhand. Beautifully executed. Uh-oh, oh, boy, that ball is out of bounds. And Leigh Jansen can't believe that she missed it.
Well, and I think there was a little bit of hesitancy from Leigh Jansen because she thought that ball could have been out of bounds, and so she paused right on her overhead, and it threw her off a bit.
Right, Cameron, and just a slight pitfall of sliding to your left is that it's an awkward court positioning. So your court awareness is a little bit lower when you're not in your center of your half, and sometimes that's difficult to let a ball go out. My goodness, this match is incredible.
Andrea Koop now with a chance to win game number 1 here for the Bears. Answers right back. Everything on the line, she's unfazed.
And again, we talk about patterns in pickleball. Annalie Waters is prepared now every time that she's seeing Andrea Koop go with a two-handed backhand. Watch her immediate slide middle. She's anticipating that ball going back the direction of Leigh Jansen, so just one step ahead right now in that regard.
Perhaps Koop will test the sideline then, the forehand side of Waters, to see if the pattern stays the same or mixes up. Oh, what a grab.
Not booing, they are cooping right now with the stands.
Of applause for that effort, Andrea Koop. And how about the support play of Maggie Brascia, who's not going to get credit in this one, but she came up in crucial moments.
Well, there was one ball that Adam and I were sitting here kicking ourselves going, oh dear, we thought it was out of bounds, and Maggie took it out of the air and sent it back over. That was astonishing.
The hands on both sides. Andrea Koop and Annalie Waters firefighting to no end at the end of game number 1. Oh, a wide ball there. Andrea Koop giving herself a break.
Yeah, she can't.
Saying that's the one you missed?
Yeah, she can't help but, after that previous point, she can't help but chuckle.
So Waters with a chance to tie it here for the 5s.
22-23.
She'll take the net bounce and the point.
And when you're hitting balls like that, Anna-Leigh, keep your foot on the gas. We've seen a couple bringing the opponents in and a couple lobs mixed in. I don't think that that's the time for it. Keep ripping away, Anna-Leigh.
Just long for Waters.
But remember that speed up, right? We talked about it probably 3-4 points ago for Andrea Koop. See the location, the two-hand backhand speed up, trying to find that space up the line. It's not easily done. You could see how kind of it was an awkward angle, well disguised from Andrea Koop.
And it took Anna-Leigh Waters a half second to adjust to the change, and maybe that's just the time that Koop needed to create the error. Leigh Jansen getting in the firefight, uses the net. She'll take it.
Yes, and I just have never seen in a high-level women's match so much court covered, especially from the right side from one player. Even in the old school days of Simone Jargin playing left and taking so much court, this is incredible display from Anna-Leigh Waters.
Oh, Andrea Koop finds the middle, puts it away, and the Bears taking their turn with the serve.
Yeah, really impressed right here from Maggie Brascia, actually. I love the fact she stayed offensive. There was a contact. She could have let her foot off the gas as well, but instead add a little extra roll and topspin to her shot.
And I think in terms of a full-on overhead position, Maggie Brascia might have more power than Andrea Koop.
23-23.
Traditional scoring on both sides during the freeze. Andrea Koop finding the middle that time.
And Anna-Leigh Waters didn't really slide right here because it wasn't on her own speed up. So a great location for Koop, but man, Anna-Leigh Waters had been taking a lot of those balls through the middle. Just maybe didn't expect Leigh Jansen to be the one to speed up first.
Man, I just want this match to keep going. By far the best of the tournament. Somebody's got to win. Who's it going to be?
Let's do rally scoring to 31, shall we? We might get there. Anna-Leigh Waters says this game must continue to go on. Serve returns to the 5s.
This is just an unreal back and forth. Such a treat for us and everyone watching.
23-24.
Oh my goodness, so close. Gosh, these points are absolutely incredible. The degree of difficulty on both sides, and so the Bears with another chance to close it out.
Well, and not to mention, Michelle, the physicality required this late in a game, the exhaustion, the heat, everything starting to kick in.
Ritchie Tuazon, the owner of the Bears, watches on. Andrea Koop puts the team on her back and closes the doors. So the Bears take game number 1. This was so crucial for them to have a chance at the finals. Cameron Irwin, what did we just see here on championship court?
Some of the best hands battles we have seen to date between these 4 women. Just unreal play from Andrea Koop and Maggie Brascia. They brought it, and I love the location, the placement. I mean, the countering from Andrea Koop, the defense. They had everything working their direction.
Adam Stone, have you seen a better women's doubles match than the one we just saw?
Take the women's out. I'm not sure I've seen a better match. And
That guy.
well, I'm saying I'm a men's double. I'm a men's double specialist. I'm garbage at mixed, and I love men's doubles. It's my favorite. That was the best match I have ever seen.
Adam Stone, you heard it here first. We're surrounding him with ladies in the booth here today. Thank you, Adam. We appreciate it. As we check in now with the third lady of our crew, the fourth member of our crew, top 50 current female pro, Cameron Blackwood, standing by with the winners who earned every inch of that game. Cameron.
I think Adam Stone said it best. They said was this the best women's doubles match we've ever seen? And they said, take out women's. That might have been the best doubles match we have ever seen. Andrea, how do you play in those big moments?
You know, the best part about MLP is you don't have to be named a certain somebody to have your moment. Irena's the MVP of MLP, and I'm just trying to channel my inner Irena.
And most of the balls were heading over to Andrea's side of the court, but how are you staying engaged in those pop-ups to make sure you're ready for the putaways?
Oh, I was just trying to be ready for any speed up coming my way and block it back.
Feel pretty composed here. Were you not excited in this moment?
Oh, I'm so excited. I kind of don't believe it, but we can do it.
There you have it. Bears go up 1-0 in that epic women's doubles match. We're coming right back with men's doubles. You do not want to go anywhere.
My first surgery was a total knee replacement. I ended up with an infection. They were gonna have to amputate my leg. That just was not okay with me. The moment I entered HSS, the care was exceptional. For somebody to tell me you're gonna keep your leg, it was magical. Everything is so alive because I got my life back.
It's all up to me. Nothing can get in my way. And when they ask, what are you gonna do next? I'll say, I'm going.
We're going to Margaritaville!
You can go to Margaritaville too. Visit MargaritavilleResorts.com.
We are back on championship court, and we are still processing here in the booth what we just witnessed in that women's doubles matchup. Time now for our Pickleball United Rally of the Match. How do you choose? There were so many to choose from as we await the men's doubles matchup. Let's have a look at this one. Let's relive it.
It had to be one of the two that we saw that the defense was just on full display. But look at this with the California Black Bears up at the kitchen, and then Annalie Waters comes crashing in.
You think the point's over like 7 times in this rally.
I know, and then you have the California Black Bears all the way at the baseline, just sending one more ball back time and time again.
You think they're done here? Nope. Brascia keeps it alive. And then maybe here, pop up. Nope. Andrea Koop gets it. Annalie Waters again. How about the defense of Koop? Brascia responds with a snag. Then she gets another one. How many points are we at? Or how many times across the net?
Well, and I think what's crazy is when we see these elongated, extended rallies, oftentimes you're thinking, oh, they're just dink rallies.
We needed to block out 7 minutes for this highlight. That was insane. But we have to get the amount of contacts that we saw on display.
I mean, it was just crazy. We've seen 109 was the highest I think we've ever seen in terms of one game being played, but that was close to it, and it was a hands battle.
And that's the key. I actually commentated that match with 109 rally, and about 104 of them were dinks.
Yep.
This is a firefight that is lasting this long. It's unbelievable.
So now we progress to the men's doubles matchup. It's Hayden Patriquin, who's been playing out of his mind in this tournament, and James Ignatowich taking on Federico Staksrud and Dylan Frazier. Talking to the owner, Ritchie Tuazon, before this of the Bears, he was unshaken. He said, I like our chances in this one.
So my matchup here is Dylan Frazier on the right versus James Ignatowich on the left. They played a couple weeks ago, and Dylan Frazier ate him up on the right hip with that forehand that he holds and flips to the middle. Will Ignatowich make the adjustment?
Ignatowich finds the middle that time.
Well, and Ignatowich showing that he has versatility on the backhand side, off the bounce, speed up through the middle. He also loves the forehand flick off the bounce. These two came out firing last night. Unbelievable between Ignatowich and Patriquin.
Ignatowich again finds the middle. He's so deceptive with his hands.
Well, and here again is a look. This is the opposite side. It was perfect timing, putting both of those shots on display. I actually talked to Leigh Waters about, is there a location he's looking for? Her answer was amazing.
Who's shaking his head, no, no, no. Cameron continue on with the answer of Leigh Waters.
Well, again, it goes back to the fact that they are just trusting their hand speed. She asked James, where do you speed up? And he goes, honestly, we don't care. We'll put the ball anywhere quickly on the other side. No locations from them.
Loose air from James Ignatowich, who just grinded about 10 dinks on the previous point, and I was surprised to see Staksrud as the one that fired away first in that previous rally.
Ignatowich into the net that time, as the Bears hold a 1-point lead early. Ooh, just wide for Staksrud, and the 5's tie it up.
Yeah, and I think Staksrud is wanting to get into that cross-court rally. Hasn't even changed direction many times to play to Hayden Patriquin. He wants to out-dink James Ignatowich.
Every ball to Federico Staksrud right now. The 5's clearly picking their patterns.
Yeah, and to watch the two-hand backhand roll of James Ignatowich, it can give a ton of action. He has to be careful with it, though, in terms of it bouncing back up. Staksrud's going to have to fight some of that topspin off each and every dink.
Wide for the 5's. Remember, this is a crucial game once again. Every game is, but for the Black Bears, they're 1-5 in mixed doubles, so they really would like to get this cushion comfort of 2 games up on the 5's leading into the mixed doubles finals. And Patriquin goes with the finger wag, rightly so. His hands have been lights out in this tournament, Adam.
I like the swag. The kid, I mean,
you challenged him.
He could be playing well, he could be playing poor. He's got the swag the whole time, and he is not playing poorly in this tournament.
Yeah. Oh, just finds the baseline for Patriquin. I talked to Ryan Harwood about the selection of Hayden Patriquin, and that was something they saw in him, was the upside and the progression that you can make at 17 years old in 3 to 6 months, just in size and ability, was something they really valued when picking Patriquin. And that time, the 5's running away with this one.
Well, it's some of the intangibles too, right? You mentioned the swag of Hayden Patriquin, but one of the other elements too is you think back to MLP Mesa, and Leigh Waters said it herself, saying he was not happy with his performance there. He came into this thinking, I have nothing to lose, I might as well just go for it.
Ignatowich finds Staksrud again, who knows he needs to tighten up his game a little bit, but credit to the 5s right now picking apart the Bears.
Right, if James is not going to miss and also not make poor decisions, it might be a good idea for Federico Staksrud to get out of that pattern, hit a few dinks to Hayden Patriquin, which can possibly get Dylan Frazier involved.
Oh, there's Staksrud with the hands, finds the backside of Ignatowich. Can't win them all for James.
No, and this is a big point in terms of taking on James Ignatowich in a hands battle and winning, letting him know that he can't just run away with the hands battles throughout this.
Oh, what a shot. Federico Staksrud. How'd he do it, Adam?
That was unreal paddle control from Staksrud. Just absolutely so good. And the thing about James Ignatowich, he hits that two-hander so hard, but it's almost always cross-court. As we saw right there. So that's the situation. When you hit it so clean and so good, one of the best, a world-class two-handed backhand. But these players are so good. If you don't mix your spots a little bit, even if you hit it that well, you might be in trouble.
Hayden Patriquin goes for the speed up. How do you feel about that choice?
I think he was just looking to body up, going for something different. But there's been, mostly in my career, I'm the one getting targeted, but there's been a few situations where I was frozen out, and that's the situation Dylan Frazier is in. It is very difficult when that happens. When you're not seeing a lot of balls, do you speed up when you get one? Do you just put it back in? It's hard to get into a rhythm. So let's see how he can insert himself into this match and possibly get a few more touches.
Just wide that time. The 5s bulldozed Jay DeVilliers and Eric Lang for the shock last night in the semifinal round. Ritchie Tuazon of the Bears, the owner of the Bears, saw that very clearly, saw the hands of Hayden Patriquin, very impressive. And the solution seemed pretty obvious to him, is to continue to try and slow it down against a team that wants to come at you first. Aggressive play is a keynote for the New Jersey 5s, who are the first team to 11. So we will have the end change. But the Bears have pulled within 2 here. It looked like the 5s were going to start to run away with it like they did last night. What are you seeing?
Well, and I think one of the hard parts right now for Federico Staksrud on the left is because James Ignatowich is doing the two-hand backhand roll, it feels like you're in an offensive position in that regard. And right now, Federico Staksrud is just cutting those balls back, sitting in that cross-court dink rally. And at times, when you're working with that slice, it can feel like you're in a defensive posture at different moments. So I would look, again, for Federico Staksrud, just like Adam has mentioned, to maybe change up some of those patterns. He's got to get his partner involved a bit more here in the second half of this game.
Mircea Marariu down there talking to Federico Staksrud, top senior pro and a relative local living down in the Delray Boynton Beach area.
Ignatowich to serve to Staksrud.
Yeah, it's just got to be cleaned up. So I would say 4 or 5. Of course, he's getting a lot of the balls, most of the balls. So, you know, he's had more opportunities, but 4 or 5 dink errors on relatively neutral balls from Federico Staksrud. Got to clean it up.
Couldn't counter the power of James Ignatowich.
So nice to see these players be able to make adjustments on the fly in a firefight, hitting through the court on the first couple and then able to get the ball down and force their opponents to hit up. You have a split second to differentiate between the two shots in that moment is just incredible.
Ignatowich, the former Division I tennis player at Vanderbilt, with the serve. Just wide that time for Patriquin. I wonder if the Bears might start continuing to force the issue with Hayden Patriquin.
Well, and I think they are looking to dink to him a bit more here now. Hayden Patriquin's missed about 3 speed-ups throughout this game. I would try and get him a little bit more involved.
Oh, what a setup. Oh my, I thought that point was over. It was not. Never count out Ignatowich and Patriquin, but what did you see?
Early in the second half of this match, the patterns are completely different. Cameron touched on that. A little chat from Mircha Mararu and their teammates, and totally different match to start the second half.
Staksrud eyeing down Hayden Patriquin.
Yeah, you know he felt that finger wag. He might not have looked straight at it, but he know Hayden was doing something earlier in the match. So he gave him a slight stare down on that one. I like the gamesmanship.
Triumphant in that series.
Well, and that's one of the first times we've actually been able to see Federico Staksrud with a backhand roll speed up the line. He hasn't been given many opportunities to do such.
Ball was called out of bounds.
Then you call it out. You played the ball, then you call it out.
They are saying, the 5's are saying, you played the ball and then you called it out. You cannot do that.
Yeah, let's listen to the explanation.
The ball was played before you call it out. So the ball played is what counts.
The ball was played before the 5's called it out, is what the referee is saying. What are you thinking, Adam?
That's a little questionable. I guess he's saying that Hayden hit the ball, was playing, and then James, with the better vantage point, because Patriquin was looking straight down on it, made the call too late. This is interesting. Let's just see what happens. Yeah, this is
interesting. We haven't seen that yet so far in this tournament.
I'm trying to think exactly when I have seen this situation.
We're getting clarification in the booth from one of our referees here, Michelle, telling us that you lose your right to call the ball out. Once you return it, the ball goes over. And it's in.
Yeah, it looks in to me.
So regardless, even if they called it out and the other team were to challenge it, they would have lost the point anyways. So regardless, the point is Hayden Patriquin made the return. He cleared the net. Nobody said anything. And then James Ignatowich said that ball was out. You can't do that. You either call it at the moment of seeing it or surrender your option to do so. And let's have a listen on what's the verdict is. Okay. The out call will stand. I imagine the Bears will challenge. This is...
So again, that's a little bit of a subjective call there in terms of the timing of the out call for our officials. Dylan Frazier and Federico Staksrud now having conversation. Dylan Frazier is the captain, so he's the only one that's actually able to communicate with our officials here.
They have to have the opportunity to challenge.
I would imagine.
I mean, they have to, given the situation and the confusion early on.
And if you're actually reading the lips right now, Dylan Frazier is asking if that's challengeable, and they just said, yes, that is challengeable, the in-out call. So
challenge it.
Challenge it. Exactly.
Challenge it, Dylan. We're yelling that from the booth. That is, why wouldn't you? And they have nothing to lose, because if they challenge it correctly, they would keep one of their free challenges, one of their 2 free challenges that they get every game.
I'm just not sure why this conversation is so long.
I know.
With ranks on the court, really pickles, trust me, you'll want to go and try them.
My only thought is maybe even Frazier thought that ball was too close to call. Maybe they don't want to trust the actual thought that that ball is inbound, still fighting for the first.
Get back to the action.
Call by the official saying the out call was too late.
Well, either way, definitely breaking up the momentum here, whether or not the Bears, I don't know. I think the Bears were on a run there, starting to gain some on their side, and then this kind of changes things, a little breakup in the action. So we will continue to press for clarity on what the conversation is on the side of the Bears.
Called by the 5's. The Black Bears are challenging the out call made on the court.
Okay.
5's, would you like to maintain the out call? 5's are maintaining the out
The
call.
5's are opting to maintain the out call.
It's 15-12.
So the score right now is 15-12, but if this is overturned, obviously then that changes things to a 1-point game, and the Bears with nothing to lose on this challenge. Interesting nuance. So I think it's fair to say if the ball is returned clearly and they're about to, if the other players hits a third shot already on that, that is fair to say that that's too late of a call, in my opinion. Subjective, not subjective. That to me is pretty objective. When you have the other player striking on the third shot, you should no longer have any part in the previous point, whether or not that ball is out. And it should be as quick as you see it, call it.
Well, and it does become difficult being the non-contact player there and being James Ignatowich. I've actually seen Simone Jardim kind of do the same thing yesterday in terms of a late call, and she immediately looked across the court and says, I'm sorry, it was a late call, that ball was out of bounds. So I think there's a little bit of nuance there, as it is a little subjective. But again, I think this video challenge will result in the direction of the California Black Bears. So ultimately, again, we're figuring things out as we go here.
Yes, no, definitely. And that would put it, as Michelle said, a 1-point game. So it would be 14-13 with the Black Bears serving if, in fact, this call is overturned.
So according to Jansen, the leader of the referees here with Major League Pickleball, the confusion was because Hayden played the ball, but James called it out. And the extensive conversation between the refs and Dylan Frazier was due to just explanation of the rules, and the video challenge is proceeding.
Gotcha.
After the Bears finally decided to challenge the outcome, but they just had to re-explain the situation in full detail to Dylan Frazier, as this pretty hefty delay.
Yes, and yeah, no, there's no question. And this is a very common pattern. When someone hits a deep return and you are trying to hit the ball looking straight down on it, it's your partner's responsibility on the other side to call for you. So there can definitely be some delays in that process with the person striking the ball not actually being in a great vantage point to make the call. So just part of the deal, I guess.
And I will say, too, in terms of the play style of the New Jersey 5's, because they've been looking so often to do the shake and bake, James Ignatowich had already made his way beyond halfway through the transition zone and is looking back at that ball to make a call. Also really tough from that vantage point.
Yeah, good point. As often you're kind of hanging out, waiting to see what happens with the shot right in line. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, the call stands.
Wow.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa.
So we all got a whoa or a wow in there.
Again, there are multiple camera views that we do not see on the stream, so that's also important to keep in mind.
So the 5's will take the point on the very confusing situation that we just saw. James Ignatowich, and his call will stand. That's a huge momentum swinging point and a 3-point gap now for the Bears to climb out of.
Absolutely huge at this stage of the match.
Ignatowich won Major League Pickleball in 2022 in Newport Beach. Looking for a second title, and the Bears come away with that point.
Nice swing from Hayden Patriquin, slightly early on the counter, almost too prepared, but I like him being aggressive with that big two-hander.
13-15.
Dylan Frazier slapping that backhand home.
Dylan Frazier, we're starting to say his name, and that's a good thing for the California Black Bears right here. Standing right in the middle of the court, that backhand is going to do some damage.
Frazier and those hands whipping that backhand back and forth.
You just have to love the play of Dylan Frazier right here. He ends up in the middle of this rally on the right side of the court and still able to pull that ball all the way down at the feet of the New Jersey 5's.
Ooh, a crushing ball into the net for Federico Staksrud, and the lead continues for the 5's. Net play for Frazier. He'll take the break. Tie game.
And let's be clear, being a high-level tennis player gives you some advantages in this game, but not having the tennis background also gives you advantages. And you see from the technique of Dylan Frazier getting that backhand slap down at the feet of his opponents.
Perhaps more challenging to read. That time, Staksrud forcing the issue, who won his first PPA gold medal at the Arizona Grand Slam, taking down the king of singles, Ben Johns, in the process. Oh, what an ATP from Ignatowich. You thought Frazier almost had it.
Yes, nice ATP from Ignatowich. And to touch on your point, Michelle, it's the battle of the ability to repeat your mechanics, being a tennis player, and the deception and the kind of awkward shots and awkward spots from the non-racket sport players.
Ooh, Ignatowich trying to speed it up on the backhand. Smart placement for the Bears to force Ignatowich to step off the kitchen.
Well, and Ignatowich right there was just going to trust his hand speed, because it was very clear that he was going to speed that ball up with a massive step back, that left foot prepping. So they were very ready to counter. Even though that ball hits the top of the net, the Black Bears would have put themselves in a solid position in that regard.
So here the Black Bears were in the position with their backs against the wall, trailing by 3 at a tough point in the game. They come back, take the 1-point lead. How were they able to close the deficit and now have some momentum on their side, Adam?
I got 2 words for you. Baby Dylan Frazier. And you're exactly right. It was 15-12. So this is a 6-2 run coming out of that extended delay. And it's Dylan Frazier playing big. And like I said, he is not coming around the ball with his backhand, stroking it. He is hitting that shot up around his left shoulder and getting on top of the ball, putting it down at the feet of his opponents. Phenomenal job by him, ripping through the court with the forehand, down at the feet with the backhand. It's a deadly combination.
So, California with a chance 3 points away to go up 2-0 on the 5's. That would be huge for them with mixed doubles as their potential vulnerability. Federico Staksrud on the setup from Dylan Frazier.
And what's allowing us to say Dylan Frazier's name is look at the court position of Dylan Frazier. He is straddling the center line right there, getting himself involved from a court position perspective.
He said, please hit it to me. Not that time. Ignatowich answering right back. We are in rally scoring until one of the teams reaches 20. Hayden Patriquin at 17 years old will take back the serve. Ooh, Frazier tested on the backhand, tie game, 19-19.
I like it though. Stay aggressive, Dylan, and he really kind of pretzeled up Ignatowich in the previous point, and once there as well, and Ignatowich able to just get those balls back over. Nice hands from James.
Federico Staksrud and Dylan Frazier too quick with their hands, which is saying a lot compared to these two.
Well, Dylan Frazier plays usually alongside J.W. Jansen. When talking of those two, you talk about the hand speed, and right there, that was right in the backhand of Dylan Frazier.
20-19.
Oh, no. Dylan Frazier misses his serve on game point. The 5's will enjoy the break as the Bears are frozen on 20 and New Jersey frozen on 19.
If that's not pickleball in a nutshell, I don't know what is.
Oh, man.
Him playing big for 5 straight minutes and then misses his serve in a big, crucial moment at 2019.
Oh, this is intriguing. James wants a different ball, I think.
Probably fine for Frazier, who maybe wanted to get rid of the ball he missed on the serve. Who knows? We'll see. Ignatowich back to serve now to Federico Staksrud. Frazier just misses wide that time. Tough speed up to defend from Ignatowich.
And it's the same thing. James Ignatowich taking that big step back, and he's just betting on himself right there in terms of his location and the next ball coming back. He beats Dylan on the first.
20-20.
Ignatowich sends that one long, and so serve returns to California and Dylan Frazier with all the pressure on him.
20.
Oh, that was too easy for Hayden Patriquin. Just lofted it up to his forehand. Why do you think he went there?
That was a great spot up the middle, and when you are changing direction on a dink from the cross-court ball, it's a shorter court. So if you miss-hit just a little bit, that ball stays high and gives your opponent an opportunity. Sometimes when you miss your spot slightly on the cross-court, it doesn't cause any damage because you have that extra court to work with.
Hayden Patriquin was the last player off the board. He was selected at 48 in the 4th round to the New Jersey 5's. Missed that time. Serve returns to California.
Well, and again, here's the line-to-line dink from Federico Staksrud. There's the difference. He finds the left kneecap of Hayden Patriquin, so not able to necessarily find that forehand.
Oh, just long for Frazier. Ignatowich has caught Dylan Frazier a couple of times now with his speed ups. Serve back on the side of the 5s. Oh, Hayden Patriquin punches first. The 5s on top by 1.
And again, Federico Staksrud looked to the exact same spot, that left foot, left kneecap, and Hayden Patriquin had the answer, the flick with the backhand side.
21-20.
Hayden Patriquin answers back, throwing his hands in the air. Staksrud saying, okay, we still have 2 more, but fine. And the 5s even out the series, 1 game apiece. How, Adam?
That was a pretty funny reaction from Federico Staksrud. He just smiles, taps hands, and gets ready for the next ball. And it was an awesome job by the 5s to regroup, and some great play from Hayden Patriquin.
Oh.
As the beginning of the broadcast too, I mentioned how Dylan Frazier had lit up James Ignatowich in a previous encounter, and James, in the end of this match, caught Dylan Frazier a couple times. Nice speed ups from him.
You know Dylan Frazier is going to be thinking about that miss serve for quite a while because the Bears could have ended it on that point. Poor guy, we've all been there. But hey, mixed doubles coming up. We've got 2 more games here on Championship Court. And now we check in with Cameron Blackwood standing by with the young winners, Hayden Patriquin and James Ignatowich.
James, intense match all the way up until the very end, but you're really targeting that cross-court battle there with Fed. What were you looking to create?
I mean, Fed is really solid, great dinker, and I just wanted to try to stay solid and give Hayden, who obviously has a huge hands advantage against both players, an opportunity to showcase his power.
Like you said, you're playing lights out this weekend. How has that mental shift been from Mesa here to Daytona?
Shoot.
Or how'd you just feel about this match, Hayden?
I just felt great. I've been playing good all weekend, and I'm going to try to keep it going.
There you have it. 5s tied up 1-1. We're heading into mixed doubles right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Major League Pickleball is brought to you by Margaritaville, Pickleball United, HSS, Cirkul, Bromith Pickleball, Dulce Vida Tequila, and Michelob Ultra.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. You need supplements that are backed by science with natural and plant-based ingredients. And that are third-party tested. Because cleaner is better. Like Oro Organic. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at oraorganic.com.
Dulce Vida, you are what you drink.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me a man on a mission. I'm guilty by my own admission. Locked up but I break free. No change could ever take me. Stop, won't stop, don't stop now.
At Frometh Pickleball, we believe in the power of our sport to unite a community. We have introduced hundreds of people to pickleball by funding a 10-court public facility in our hometown with leagues and lessons to make everyone feel valued. We take that same approach to our business. with personalized customer service and same-day shipping from our huge inventory. When you order from with Pickleball, you're supporting a small business and a diverse community of pickleball fanatics. We have the gear you need and the service you can trust.
We're back on Championship Court as we welcome you back to the beautiful facilities at Daytona in Holly Hill, Florida. This is MLP by Margaritaville. And a wonderful event it's been so far. You're watching the second semifinal matchup between the New Jersey 5's and the California BLQK Bears. The winner of this match will square off against Ben Johns, the second overall pick, and the Seattle Pioneers, who await their opponent at 3 p.m. in the championship round. As we begin the mixed doubles matchup, the New Jersey 5's were the home team. They won the toss, which means the Bears had to play their hand first. The 5's got to choose the matchup. And so it's Dylan Frazier and Maggie Brascia. And Cameron, we got some insight from Leigh Waters on this one. Leigh Waters and Hayden Patriquin is the duo that the 5's opted to put out first. She likes the matchup between Leigh Waters and Dylan Frazier.
Yeah, without a doubt. We actually caught up with her prior to this, and that was what she was hoping for. She thinks that there's a little bit of an advantage in terms of Leigh versus Dylan. Maybe there's some uncomfortability on the side of Dylan Frazier facing off against Leigh Waters. These little details are things you hear around pickleball world. Those matter in some of these matchups and what you're looking for. So even though you're thinking Dylan Frazier, some of the best hands in pickleball, Leigh Waters, she is the GOAT on the women's side, right? So it's going to be interesting to see how this head-to-head battle between those two plays out.
It's all about patterns, and sometimes there could be a very low-ranked player that you don't see particularly well. Maybe there's a very high-ranked player that you just see the ball clean off of their paddle. So you never know what you're going to get, and you could have world-class hands, but when the ball comes to you in certain spots, obviously they think Leigh can find those spots. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Waters, the first server to Brascia. Right away, the 5's come out swinging.
Yeah, that's right. All Dylan Frazier can do there is turn his hip and hope not to get hit.
As much as we talk about returns in the games of singles, they do come into effect in doubles as well. It's just not mentioned enough.
Oh, what a shot to create the opening by Patriquin.
Yeah, so true, Cameron. And just because they're a little more important in singles does not mean that they're not very important in the game of doubles as well.
Leigh Waters with a beautiful shot. Oh my goodness. Look at this two-hand backhand. She pulls this all the way across her body and into the corner.
Oh, Maggie Brascia finds the opening that time.
Okay, Maggie Brascia. This is just off the edge of her paddle, but look at this. Nice little speed up. It's not always about pace. It's about position and location. That's a great disguised ball from Maggie Brascia.
Oh. Ooh, tough pop-up chance there for Maggie Brascia.
Now, as much as there might be some unknown for Maggie Brascia, as this is her first MLP event of the year, one of the interesting things is Hayden Patriquin, also from California, as is Maggie Brascia. They know each other's game a bit more than Leigh to Maggie Brascia.
That ball is out of bounds. Chased down by Dylan Frazier.
3-4.
Oh, Dylan Frazier with the answer down the line.
I mean, what do you have to do to put a ball away around here.
Seriously.
This is unreal. Cameron
Can't
said,
buy it right now.
I mean, we're in a pretty quick format. It almost turns into a battle of attrition with some of these points.
It does.
Oh, tough break there for Brascia. Had a pop-up chance off the net. Couldn't get a good grip on it.
Yeah, right there. But again, that's tough too when you're expecting something low and maybe at your body, and all of a sudden your paddle now has to travel about a foot higher and be able to pull that ball back down.
Brascia wins the battle that time.
Yeah, I'll go. And it was a great play from Maggie Brascia. And to touch on what you said, Cam, even if you have world-class hands, when it clips the tape, you look weird sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, an easy put away from Annalie Waters.
Yeah, thanks to a great setup by Hayden Patriquin here. Watch how far this dink hits, all the way onto the sideline. Beautiful wrist work from Hayden Patriquin.
Oh, she wanted it, Annalie Waters. So close.
You know, so often we talk about disguise, and that was a good look right there at Hayden Patriquin in terms of his forehand speed up looks the same, but he has a good hold, able to still dink that ball cross court.
Long for the Bears, so trading point for point right now.
Yeah, slight overextension from Dylan Frazier. The 5's doing a great job of moving the ball around and keeping Dylan Frazier off balance early on.
Frazier will take it back to Hayden Patriquin.
7-7.
Maggie Brascia has just been so good with her reaction speed.
Yes, and it's also fun to watch the fact that she really sticks true to that two-hand backhand. Even when she gets pressured on her forehand side, she just slides that paddle over. It can create some awkward positions. You also have to kind of change the paddle and contort your shoulder and elbow arm to be able to get that ball deflected back down.
Just shy of the net that time. Waters and Patriquin back on top. The 5's finished 5th at Mesa, in Mesa rather. The Black Bears coming into this weekend were ranked 7th in the Premier League. Annalie Waters looking to change that trajectory for her team that was expected to go all the way.
Yes, and sometimes even if Annalie Waters' partner is back, it's tough to keep them back because she poaches so well.
Right at the body there of Hayden Patriquin. He couldn't get his hips out of the way.
Yeah, nice pressure from Frazier jamming up Patriquin. We have got to see Dylan Frazier play big.
Dylan Frazier toying with his location, and so the 5's, the first team to 11, and we'll have an end change.
Well, this is the second time we've seen Dylan Frazier try and lob over the top of Hayden Patriquin. The first was back in the men's doubles competition. Now, Hayden is a little bit smaller in terms of stature, so you can guarantee, though, if someone's trying to lob you because you're a little undersized compared to the rest, you're going to put a chip on your shoulder. I would be fired up if someone was trying to lob me.
Cameron, that's never happened to me before. People don't
it's really
lob me.
Weird, but
yeah, that's always what I say under my breath after they do. Always lobbing the short guy. Real cool, guys. Real cool.
He stands at 5'8"
on a good day, Michelle.
8 on a good day. I didn't want to throw you under the bus.
No worries. But certainly Annalie Waters not doing anything like blowing Dylan Frazier off the court, but she has absolutely handled herself in this heads-up matchup with him, as you touched on with that comment from Leigh Waters. So can Dylan be that offensive force that he needs to be, or is Leigh Waters going to be able to neutralize his offense? We'll just have to see in the second half of this match, as the New Jersey 5s with a solid 2-point lead on the end change.
Well, and to your point, too, for Hayden Patriquin and Leigh Waters, they have not lost a mixed doubles match or game, excuse me, this weekend. That wasn't necessarily the case back in Mesa. And on the other side, the mixed area has actually been where the California Black Bears have struggled a bit. So it'll be interesting to see. I think they're 1-5 coming into this for mixed doubles.
That's what Ritchie Tuazon said. So that was their potential vulnerability coming in here. But he says he feels good about the Dream Breaker. So if we get to that point, Andrea Koop and Federico Staksrud are lined up next in mixed doubles. If they do indeed lose this matchup to the 5s, Koop and Staksrud would have to win to push a Dream Breaker. Dylan Frazier answering the bell that time.
Yeah, that was all Dylan Frazier, because Hayden Patriquin had Maggie Brascia sliding over for the backhand, but that's great wingspan and court positioning for Dylan Frazier to handle that ball up the middle.
Brascia so patient off the net. Even though it changed direction, she was all over it.
But watch, too, on some of these counters by Brascia, how she loads her left arm and elbow. That's where she's generating all that power. Also had a little extra from her shoulder.
Caught off guard that time.
Yeah, tough. You kind of see when one player is transitioning, you feel like you have that window for the drive, but with this athleticism out here, that gap closes quickly.
Leigh Waters misses into the net, can't believe it.
Yes, and that is a solid way to stay home from Dylan Frazier. Same ball earlier in the match. Dylan might have been leaking to the middle a little bit more. He stays home knowing Leigh Waters is looking for that shot up the line.
Dylan Frazier rockets that one to Leigh Waters, and here come the Bears.
Just a really nice take here from Dylan Frazier. He gets in front of Hayden Patriquin as he slides more middle, goes straight for the body, and able to put away the next.
Maggie Brascia leans in with the extension.
Yeah, great job by Maggie Brascia. I had the pleasure of playing with her for the Jag Rapids last year, and when she takes that forehand out of the air, really good at keeping the male player honest.
Oh, what good defense by AL. Oh, Leigh Waters keeping that point very much alive.
But I think that's a little bit the scouting report of these two knowing each other so well. Hayden Patriquin really trying to find that right side of Maggie Brascia where there's maybe potential for a bit more of a pop-up.
Oof, does it again, to your point, Cameron. At least if there's any benefit to that for Maggie Brascia, she's used to the speed of Patriquin in his hands. At least what she's going to be getting. Doesn't mean she's going to get them all back. Oh, Leigh Waters, so beautiful down the middle with that forehand.
And it's also important to note, too, in terms of finding that right side. For Maggie Brascia, she's sliding so far to the line. The target is very, very small, so Patriquin has to pinpoint that perfectly.
Oh. Oh, Dylan Frazier is running sideline to sideline.
And a great job by Leigh Waters. A couple questionable lobs and drop shots in the women's match. She has all the power. I like to see her incorporating some soft and touch shots into her game, even though if she hasn't found the perfect frequencies yet.
Just wide for Patriquin, but the placement of the 5s right now is so precise.
Yes, and it's really nice to see the best player in the world on the female side looking to get better. Don't be satisfied with your quality game. Continue improving.
15, 16.
Nice ding from Leigh Waters. She loves the forehand roll cross court, but there she works Dylan up the line with plenty of spin off that ball.
17, 15.
All right, Maggie Brascia.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about right there. And it's also nice because Maggie, it didn't matter on that one as Hayden Patriquin's transitioning, but she takes a lot of dinks out of the air, which helps her offensive attacks out of the air be more deceptive.
Patriquin gets her that time. Maggie Brascia is one of his practice partners back in California.
Yeah, and I think she was asking Dylan Frazier if that ball was going to go out, and I think that it was.
Patriquin looking for some extra pace off the third.
Frazier serving to Patriquin.
And again, he continues to try and look at Brascia right there. She made another nice adjustment. Watch the preparation. See how she's able to clear her left hip out of the way. That allows for more pop off the paddle.
Just long for Hayden Patriquin. Just when you think the 5s are going to start to kick it in gear and steal the game, the Black Bears come roaring right back. What's shifted on their side?
Yeah, that was a nice mini matrix from Maggie Brascia. And you know, there has been some relentless pressure at her these last 5 minutes or so. And let's be clear, the more that comes at you, the more comfortable that you get with it. So they were certainly catching her, and it's not like I'm saying the 5 should go away from being aggressive at her, but she's seen these patterns and these shots coming at her for a while now, and she's doing a better job of being prepared for them.
I would agree, and I think it's so fun to watch the head-to-head battle between Maggie and Hayden right now. It seems as if she's not scared also to take a shot. We've seen several speed-ups, like you mentioned, her taking that ball out of the air, still looking to go at Hayden Patriquin. I'm curious to see how Leigh Waters and Dylan Frazier might get involved in these last handful of points.
That answer will come in just a couple of moments. The Bears 2 points away from getting the 2-1 edge over the 5s, who would love nothing more but to have their chance against the Seattle Pioneers. Oh, Dylan Frazier works Patriquin to the backside, finds the middle, a very slim margin of error there.
Yeah, and a testament to his deception. He got Hayden Patriquin on the ball before to hop in the air because Hayden thought he was going to speed up. Great job and great deception from Dylan, and he was able to finish on the next point. Unfortunately, loose error right there,
yeah,
Michelle.
And the third shot dropped too. Oh, Dylan Frazier with the speed up to Patriquin. You don't often catch him off guard, and there he does.
Again, I love the decision-making right here by Dylan Frazier because he's right in front of Patriquin. That's the shortest distance and the quickest time to get that ball on the body of Hayden Patriquin.
Maggie Brascia Brascia with a chance to end it. Goes into the net again, and so serve returns to the 5s. We're frozen on both sides, traditional scoring. Leigh Waters taking her crack at it. And a winner from Hayden Patriquin is all they need for a little bit of momentum.
And that's right, a lot of times on the shake and bake poach, you get a sitter and a smack, easy finish. That was not the case for Hayden Patriquin there, as that ball was fairly low. He still came up with a great offensive shot.
Oh, miss for Leigh Waters means the serve returns to California, and they have a chance on Maggie Brascia's paddle to finish things off right here. Dylan Frazier ends it all. The Bears on top 2-1. Maggie Brascia, Dylan Frazier. How were they able to get it done?
Just so impressive. First and foremost, handing Leigh Waters and Hayden Patriquin their first mixed loss of the weekend. Whoa, Maggie Brascia played outrageous. The line-to-line battle between her and Hayden Patriquin, she had a response late in this game, and you gotta love the adjustment there.
Yeah, and the key, oh, sorry, Michelle.
No, go ahead,
the key for me there was early in the mid parts of the match. Dylan Frazier was getting caught behind himself. He started to have faith in Maggie Brascia, stayed home a little bit more, still picked his spots to be offensive, but instead of getting spread out too thin, he relied on his partner, and she came up big.
Let's learn a little bit more on how Brascia and Frazier were able to get it done with a steep task against Leigh Waters, the #1 overall pick, as we check in now with Cameron Blackwood.
Dylan, you take the Bears up now 2-1. An incredible match there. A lot of firepower with Hayden and Leigh. How were you able to neutralize the power and take this game?
Yeah, we just tried to hit quality dinks. Like you said, they've got a lot of firepower. They've got really quick hands. So we just tried to pick the right moments and be ready when we maybe give them an opportunity.
You're in rally scoring. It then freezes and goes back to traditional scoring. Does that change your strategy at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. It's super nerve-wracking when you're on 20 and trying to close it, but we just stuck to what we were doing, and we're hoping that it would work, and it did.
Bears go up 2-1. We're heading into our next mixed doubles after this. Don't go anywhere.
Oh my good Lord, what a feeling. All of this joy I've been stealing. We all need someone that can make us believe. So call me a man on a mission. I'm guilty by my own admission. Locked up but I break free. No change could ever take me. Can't stop, won't stop, don't stop now.
The Pro XR pickleball paddle answers the age-old question of how to get paddle speed and control with the same paddle and one grip, and this is it. Pro XR gives you more spin, greater control, and quicker reloads on every shot in the game, because you always have that constant feel for that leverage and control and paddle speed that we're all looking for. Pro XR is the most revolutionary technology in pickleball.
Dulce Vida, you are what you drink.
Introducing Skechers Pickleball, the official footwear of Major League Pickleball. They're ultra lightweight and responsive for incredible speed. They have Goodyear rubber outsoles with a specialized pickleball design for increased side-to-side stability and agility. Plus, they feature shock-absorbing foam and Skechers' famous relaxed fit design for incredible comfort game after game. Conquer the court in comfort. Skechers Pickleball, the official footwear of Major League Pickleball.
So the plot thickens here on championship court. It is James Ignatowich and Leigh Jansen for the 5s. Squaring off against Andrea Koop and Federico Staksrud. The 5's were the team able to pick their matchups in mixed doubles because they're the home team. So, according to the numbers, Ignatowich and Jansen with a slight edge on Koop and Staksrud. How do you think these teams match up against each other?
I think one of the first areas that I will look to is the fact that Andrea Koop was just playing lights out. And you mentioned Leigh Jansen and kind of where her play has been at on the weekend. However, with James Ignatowich, he's going to look to cover a ton of court. I can expect fireworks from the side of the New Jersey 5's. And Federico Staksrud, again, you saw him in men's doubles. He had a little bit of a hard time in that cross-court battle with James Ignatowich.
Jansen first serve to Koop. Everything on the line right now for the 5's, and that's a hot way to start if you're New Jersey.
Full-on barrage, shake and bake, coming in hot. Nice job by the 5's with early pressure. And Andrea Koop mentioned before the match to me that they feel like they have a 1A and B. This is not their number 2 team for mixed.
Just out of bounds. How about the defense of Andrea Koop? She's so good at getting to nearly every single ball that you throw at her.
Well, and look at that paddle posture right there. She's diving down, taking that off or out of the air, still able to reset that ball.
Oh, Federico Staksrud entering his presence in the middle.
Exact. One of the best attackers forward in the game. We see it on the singles court all the time, and he is transitioning that forward movement to the doubles court as well.
Just long for Ignatowich. Do you like Federico Staksrud's game better in men's doubles or mixed doubles, and why?
I would say I would lean a little bit more towards men's doubles. I'll elaborate after this point. Yes, if there is one knock on Federico, I would say it's his put-away power above his shoulders. And that is, I mentioned the picking nits with Leigh Waters. This is the same kind of situation with Federico, but he's really cleaned up the soft stuff, which helps a lot in men's. Let's see if he can add a lot of pressure in mixed.
They answered the call that time. Staksrud did. Ritchie Tuazon, the owner of the California Bears, pleased with his team's performance so far, no doubt, on top 2-1 games-wise, as Koop brings back the serve to Jansen.
Yeah, overextension there from Federico Staksrud. He was so spread out that he was unable to hook that ball back over to Jansen. He had to attack James Ignatowich, which often is not a great result.
Ignatowich into the net that time, looking for some consistency as the Bears maintain a 2-point lead.
5-3.
Leigh Jansen making her presence known. She's fired up after losing the women's doubles matchup.
Yeah, great spot from her with that two-handed backhand up the middle, freezing Federico Staksrud.
Sorry. Did they? Wide that time for Ignatowich.
6-4.
Slight indecision from Leigh Jansen, who is considering taking a step forward and taking that ball out of the air. Decided against that, letting it bounce.
Oh, and he gets him just off the back. And again, James Ignatowich is just continuing to let the paddle fly. Cross court.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was back or head. I was going to say put him in the concussion protocol.
Save that one.
Yeah.
Staksrud goes wide. The pressure of the 5s incoming from the kitchen.
Well, and right now Ignatowich doing a really solid job on the two-hand speed up off the bounce, finding the right shoulder of Andrea Koop. You can see her try and deflect that and drop the shoulder out of the way.
The crowd is engaged early here.
Yeah, you definitely know when James Ignatowich is not happy with himself. He's a big hand biter. So he puts his hand up and he gnaws on it a little bit, just kind of getting himself back to neutral to clean up those mistakes.
Staksrud finds the easy opening that time for the Bears.
And let's remember also, there's nothing out here that is 100% positive. Doing Ernie's, being in the Ernie position, lots of situation where that helps your team, but occasionally you get out of position and it costs you, and we saw that right there.
Oh, beautiful backhand from Leigh Jansen, just finishes to the sideline.
Well, and a nice little setup from James Ignatowich, and you just mentioned the Ernie and getting out of position, right? So you can see how the court starts to open up. They try and shift back, but a shot too late for Federico Staksrud.
And some really nice versatility from Leigh Jansen, who often goes with two hands on that counter. She dropped that second hand off and punched it with one. Well done.
Ignatowich with a powerful punch. And just like that, the 5s pull within one.
Yeah, not just that. You saw how fast James Ignatowich, with his court coverage there to get to the right side. Federico Staksrud, you knew he was going to challenge him to get back to the left.
Federico Staksrud gets the hip of James Ignatowich.
And you said it, Michelle. If there is a spot to get James Ignatowich, it is the right hip. And that was a very nice shot from Federico Staksrud, finding that basically one spot to go against James.
Oh, tough net bounce there for the Bears, and the 5s will take the point and the serve.
I think there's one player that always just has a little bit more animation to him in terms of a net cord not going his direction. It's Federico Staksrud. Feels like they're always falling the opposite direction.
Ignatowich so excited he tosses his paddle too on accident. Tie game on championship court.
Well, and it's interesting too, you're recognizing Leigh Jansen, knowing exactly what her role is supposed to be. She's getting some bait balls sent her direction high. She's getting pushed back off the kitchen line, and she's just tossing those dinks back over. They're wanting the opposite team to either counter or let her own partner find the speed up.
Leigh Jansen, easy finish for her on the high backhand. What are you seeing so far, Adam Stone?
No, just to piggyback on what Cameron said, I think your last statement was the key. She has had some opportunities to attack those floating dinks from Andrea Koop, but she wants to let James get involved, get his big paw in there. Some of the best court coverage from the kitchen line out there, so it's some nice restraint from Leigh Jansen in terms of picking her spots and not forcing the action, letting her partner James Ignatowich be the offensive force.
The 5s, the first team to 11, which means we change ends and each team gets a small break as the Bears talk things over with their coach, Federico Staksrud, looking to make some adjustments. But James Ignatowich has been so powerful in this tournament. His duper ranks 7th. He's 22 years old, former Vanderbilt tennis star, and according to Adam Stone, has said that nobody has a faster two-handed backhand than him.
Correct. That is a direct quote from James Ignatowich, and you know, I don't think I'm really the one to challenge him at this point, as he does hit it pretty hard.
He will take the serve to Staksrud. Oh, Andrea Koop finds the opening.
Who even hit that ball in the middle is still the question, though, between Staksrud and Koop.
I don't even
You
know if
still
they know.
can't tell.
Replay doesn't tell us any different. Oh, Ignatowich showing his hand power that time.
So one of the things, since we were talking about Leigh Jansen shifting and kind of picking her spots, dinking the ball back, I also was going to say that also requires discipline from James Ignatowich not to go too far and get himself that far out of position on some of those bait balls.
Sailing that long, James Ignatowich, dive a little bit deeper into the bait balls of how that is created.
Yeah, so it's when you trust your hands, maybe you read the offense of your opponent nicely, you almost push that dink a little further, hoping they're going to attack it.
Tweener gets the crowd going for Staksrud. It wasn't effective, though.
It's like a tweener volley, too. It's not often that you see that right there. Usually it's somebody chasing a lob over the top of their head and then through the back of their legs off the bounce.
What a shot from Andrea Koop. Is that tweener out of desperation or style points for Federico?
Oh, no, that was a desperation one. So, I mean, I'm not going to lie, occasionally for the ones from Christian Alshon are probably not necessary, but not a lot of options there for Federico.
Federico Staksrud finds the baseline.
Yeah, and a little bit unique, too. I don't think he actually hit that ball all too cleanly. It kind of came off just a little bit slower than anticipated, but still nonetheless did the job.
Just long for Ignatowich, who is frustrated, and he sends that ball back.
I thought maybe we could see a blue card as a warning, but head referee keeping that in his pocket.
New rule for MLP Daytona Beach. Staksrud creating every offensive opportunity on his side.
Well, and watch how much power he can create off some of these contacts. I mean, he is full extension right there. That's coming from shoulder and wrist because that elbow is completely locked out. And I think a lot of that also comes from his great singles play because he has to find these volleys from such extension points. That's translating well to doubles right now.
Yeah, and he leans that upper body to get as much extension as possible. When he makes contact with that ball, his upper body and torso is almost parallel with the court. So full extension, and as you mentioned, at full extension, one of the things that you do is sacrifice power, and somehow he does not.
Staksrud played tennis at Florida Gulf Coast University and originally from Argentina, and he has been showing his excellent tennis transition to pickleball professional skills on display. And we talked about height earlier. These people in the crowd would have some advantage here in pickleball as far as their reach.
There would be no kitchen line for them.
Kitchen line. Not sure how they get to any of the speed ups at their feet, though. Ignatowich, right out of the break, gets a point that his team desperately needed to stay alive. If the Fives win this one, we are going to a Dream Breaker singles format. 5th game. Bears can end it with this game right here. Federico Staksrud, if he has anything to say about it, he wants to end it in 4.
Well, and I love this from Federico Staksrud. Again, same thing. The men's was a little bit challenging for him, so you can guarantee he's looking to take shots right now, James Ignatowich.
James Ignatowich, too powerful from the kitchen line.
It's almost at this point, if you don't have a great look right at the kitchen line on a counter, you should just block it because you can't get the ball past James Ignatowich at this point.
Staksrud does one better.
And to your point, that's exactly it. You have to wait for the perfect opportunity. This is well above shoulder height on the second shot to be able to finish that down by Federico Staksrud.
18-15.
Andrea Koop screaming at Staksrud to let it go because she earned that point with precision down the line against James Ignatowich.
That was a primal scream. My goodness, Andrea Koop.
The Bears 2 points away from a match victory. Federico Staksrud lights up Leigh Jansen, and we're 1 point away from a match victory for California.
Really impressive job again, the court position of Federico Staksrud. Big forehand. These two are playing together so nicely right now.
Koop goes line, tests it again, and James Ignatowich was there this time. He wasn't going to get burned twice.
That's right. It's never going to be perfect, so you know, you can't make all the right decisions. I like them keeping him honest the past you know, few minutes, but didn't work that time.
Federico Staksrud steps in and earns the serve back. They are frozen on 20.
I mean, how many times have we seen this now from Staksrud? This exact position, outstretched, those hips in one location, shoulders in another, paddle all the way, extended out. So good right now from Federico Staksrud.
Seal the deal. They are punching their ticket to their first Major League Pickleball Championship of the season. Andrea Koop and Federico Staksrud fist pumps all the way to the championship round. Ritchie Tuazon, the owner, seeking his fourth championship of the franchise history. And how were these two able to stay on top the entire game? Adam Stone.
Staksrud stole my move. He threw his hat aggressively after a big win. That is my patented move. I can't believe he stole it from me. But in all seriousness, just an incredibly solid play. I mean, the barrage of offense from James Ignatowich and the wingspan at the kitchen line to weather that storm, understand that he's going to have some combinations that you cannot return, but stay focused, stay locked in, and play your game is just incredible composure from the BLQK Black Bears.
In the words of Andrea Koop, you don't have to have a big name to have your moment with Major League Pickleball. Arguably one of the best quotes we've heard all day as we check in now with the winners, the California BLQK Bears, looking to get their chance at a championship, squaring off against Seattle later this afternoon. But first, we send it down to Cameron Blackwood.
I got to go Andrea Koop right here. You are now heading into the championship here today. How are you guys feeling overall? This was such an intense match.
It was really intense, and I got to give a shout out to our coach, Mircha Marario. I hope I said the last name right, but we watched film of our terrible mixed doubles last night, and we came out and we corrected some things. Fed was just a beast. Maggie, hands all day. It was a complete team effort, so thanks, guys.
This almost felt like a final, but now you have to regroup and you're heading in to to compete against the Seattle Pioneers. How are you going to make that switch?
Yeah, I think we're gonna go get something to eat probably. Talk about what our strategy is. We played this team once before, and it worked out well for us. So hopefully we can do it again.
There you have it. We have the BLQK Bears heading in to the championships against Seattle Pioneers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.